let's talk about the Donald again, because it is election time. We're going to do even more segments than usual about the Donald. And, well, all aboard the Trump train, right, guys?
Wait, what? Did you just put something on your head? I can't see anything.
Yeah.
Bo's going hunting after this one.
Someone was kind enough when I put the MAGA hat on the other week and mentioned it was actually Cole's. Someone very kindly, Andrew, I won't give his full name in case he doesn't want to be outed. Someone called Andrew sent me a couple of caps, including this one. So...
Send in some dark MAGA caps for us.
We do have a PO box, so if you do want to send in things before the election stream, I'd say get on it now. It's on our website.
If you want to send any cheeseburgers in, we've got the PO box for them.
For Rory to eat in full costume again.
Yeah, where he becomes America Man.
So, talking all about Trump and his likelihood of winning it's only like 20 days, isn't it? 22 days, something like that, until it's actually upon us. So, well, it's good news, everybody, because... It looks like the bookies are saying... That's got to get clipped, doesn't it? Me saying that in that voice, wearing this hat.
Hello, Lotus, is out of context.
Cheers.
The opening of the next one, yeah.
The bookies are showing that Trump has got a big surge. And they should know... I'll take this off, it's stupid. It's a great cap, but I'm not going to wear it for the whole segment. That'd be silly. The bookies are showing that Trump... has had a big surge after a few things. Basically, it looks like, well, Kamala she's not a great candidate, apart from being kind of dumb and not fluid.
Uncharismatic.
Sorry, are you listing her virtues, or...?
She's annoying, shrill laugh. I said during the debate that what America gets if they vote for her is they get the nagging woman president.
Yeah, a brat.
And Nobody wants the nagging brat woman president, except for other nagging women.
Now, assuming that it isn't just completely fortified out of all recognition, let's just assume that for a moment, for a big part of this segment, assuming that things are legit, at least largely. It looks like Trump, well, according to the bookies, should win. So, for example, on this first one, Betfair, Betfair. It's just saying that, it's sort of got a 56% chance of winning, or that his odds are better than they were in 2016 and 2020. Although in 2016, the odds, even the bookies were saying Hillary's got it sewn up. And in 2020, even the bookies were saying it would be close, but nonetheless. Now, just to talk about sort of normal polls versus what bookies say and show. They're two very, very different beasts, really, aren't they? One is has been politicised, and there's no way around it. Their goal is, one way or another, even if they're trying desperately to be objective or impartial, they find it difficult too. Whereas a bookies, all they care about is money. All they care about is winning the most money off the punters.
Well, polls are often not just designed to register public opinion, but to shape public opinion.
Exactly.
And also, even if they're trying to be objective, as you say, a lot of the shy Trump voters will not admit over the phone, with all their details attached to voting Trump. And it also doesn't account for, on the day, the people that will go in and go, oh, to hell with it, flip the lever for Trump. When people got to put money on it,
right,
money's where their mouth is.
Right, exactly.
But this is the weird thing about polling, is that you always hear that, oh, well, the Democrats' internal polls don't look good. So there's just an outright admission that there's the polls that the public sees, which are for public eyes, and then there's the actual real polls that the party's looking at. So why would I trust the one that you're showing me?
Because we, or nearly anyone really, that hasn't actually got a dog in the game, just wants to know what the closest thing to reality is, right? That's all we really want. We may be partisan towards Trump, but I still just want to know what's really happening. I still just want the clearest view possible. So if you go to the next one, Odds Checker. Odds Checker is also saying that Trump is sort of surging ahead in the polls a bit. Since the year 2000, since George Bush, nearly all the states always go the way people think they will. Sort of 35 out of the 50 odd states always go the same way, or always, they're sort of firmly red or blue, right? So that only leaves 15 odd, and half of those are sort of fairly predictable anyway.
The 5 key swing states, if I can remember, are Pennsylvania, Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and then there's one.
Could you scroll up slightly on his? In this election, they reckon it's Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Nevada, and North Carolina.
North Carolina's in play. That's surprising.
Yeah, because the what everyone thinks are going to be swing states do change a little bit, but the ones like Michigan and Georgia, Pennsylvania are nearly always, or in my memory, are always, particularly. Michigan. I remember in 2016 when I was watching 2016, and Michigan was sort of formally went for Trump. I was like, because everyone was saying Hillary's got this wrapped up. 99% it's a Clinton win, but when Michigan went to Trump, in my mind I was like, we have a game. The game is afoot.
But we immediately started soying.
Yeah.
It's amazing that Minnesota's disappeared from that map, because that is the tacit admission that mass demographic change has taken it off the playing board. Like all the Somalis would just vote Democrat.
Could well be. Almost certainly is the case. Pardon me. Okay, so some people are saying that all those 7 swing states, key battleground states, looking like they might all go Trump, and if they do, then that's the whole shebang. That's the whole ball game right there. If it does, if it isn't fortified out of all recognition. So if we go to a Fox clip, can we actually play this? I'd like to play just about a minute, maybe 2 of this.
All right, Kamala Harris says it is Trump who is hiding from voters because he rejected a debate and a 60 Minutes interview. You got to see this. Roll it.
It makes you wonder, why does his staff want him to hide away?
They don't. What are you talking about? Nutter.
One must question, are they afraid that people will see that he is too weak and unstable to lead America?
Vote for freedom.
Sorry, folks, forgive me for laughing, but weak and unstable, Donald Trump? Come on, please. National Press Secretary, Trump 2024.
Okay, you don't need to play anymore. But just the classic thing of accusing your opponent of doing the exact thing you're doing.
But also, like, okay, so he's on the precipice of overthrowing all of American democracy and installing himself as a dictator in a 1,000-year Reich. But also, he can't descend stairs.
Sure. Yeah. All right.
Sure. Okay. Like pick your criticism, ladies.
We might be looking at a Davros situation, perhaps.
Hit a golf caddy from the waist down.
Yeah.
If we play the next clip, it's on Sky News. I wouldn't usually do this, but if we could watch a good sort of 3, maybe 4 minutes of this.
Donald
there's
Trump
so much in
clashed
there.
with a Bloomberg host during a live interview at the Chicago Economic Club, where he eviscerated Bloomberg news editor-in-chief John Micklethwait, much to the delight of the crowd. A standout moment from the discussion was when Trump called out Bloomberg for spreading fake news.
What does the Wall Street Journal know? I'm meeting with them tomorrow. What does the Wall Street Journal know? They've been wrong about everything. So have you, by the way. You've been wrong about
You're trying to turn this. You're trying to turn this.
You've been wrong about
No, you're trying to turn this into debate. There are
It's
business
not a debate.
people. There are
But
business
you're wrong.
people.
You've been wrong. You've been wrong all your life on this stuff.
Commentators on X reveled in the takedown, with this user saying he sits down with Bloomberg hack, tells him to his face he is fake news, and the crowd of business people are all cheering him on in agreement. Conservative commentator Charlie Kirk agreed, saying this is legendary. Trump calls the Bloomberg news editor-in-chief John Micklethwait fake news right to his face at the Economic Club of Chicago event. He then went on to own the host on the subject of tariffs, once again telling him he was wrong.
No, let me tell you, I know how committed you are to this, and it must be hard for you to, spend 25 years talking about tariffs as being negative and then have somebody explain to you that you're totally wrong. It'll have a negative, it will have...
Commentators again applauded Trump's response, saying there is no universe in which Kamala Harris could handle this interview with Bloomberg News at the Economic Club of Chicago. None. And Donald Trump is owning it. And the Bloomberg editor-in-chief was taken aback when the audience spectacularly booed him.
Only 3 weeks to go to the election. Will you commit now to respecting and encouraging a peaceful transfer of power?
Well, you had a peaceful transfer of power.
You had a peaceful transfer of power. You had a peaceful. Come on, President Trump. You had a peaceful transfer of power compared with Venezuela, but it was by far the worst transfer of power for a long time.
Jim, thank you. I appreciate that, because this is what they like to do. This is what they like to do.
The live crowd worked in Donald Trump's favour, cheering him on throughout the discussion, booing the host and giving him a standing ovation at the end.
We'll stop playing it now. There's a bit, I think it's a good couple more minutes on, we don't need to watch it all, but this event also invited Kamala Harris, and she didn't turn up.
Well, Time magazine have said she's not done an interview with us, but Donald Trump sat down with us for 60 minutes in 2 separate occasions for interviews after they have depicted him as the worst possible person on the earth. And remember, Time magazine ran the piece bragging about fortification. They are the most hostile news outlet, and Trump still sat down with them.
She also couldn't find the right Wikipedia page to rip a speech from.
Yeah.
She's taking tactics from Vorsh. One thing that I did note from this, I won't derail, but
Yeah, no.
during this interview, there was a sort of tacit threat by the head of Bloomberg in there. Because he said, well, but what happens when you come in and interest rates go up because you put in your tariffs and it brings down your government? And I know that J.D. Vance, when speaking to Tucker, said that they're concerned about this because they used the example of Truss's government being brought down by the Bank of England and interest rates when they tried to fiddle with taxes after the prior Boris and Sunak government had caused inflation because of money printing. And so I've got something coming out on this soon. I also went over the reasons why this was brought down on my show. But the Trump government are going to be very watchful for how the Fed might act in rebellion and blame all of the economic malfeasance under Biden-Harris on Trump to try and sabotage his next term.
I mean, possible. Could be. I do think the example of a Trump second presidency is a very different animal to Liz Truss's premiership for all sorts of reasons. Apart from anything else, I don't think there's anyone in the Republican Party that can sort of coup him the way Truss got couped. I also think the president, the commander-in-chief, has got more authority on day one than Liz Truss ever wielded, really.
But they certainly
your point is still valid.
They can frustrate his economic agenda.
Your point is still absolutely valid. Also, I feel like the Fed, they didn't do it first time he was president. That doesn't mean they wouldn't do it this time. I'm not saying that, but they sort of got in line the first time. I'm pretty sure the president would be able to do things via executive fiat to stop them.
If he knows.
If he knows.
The problem with the first Trump administration was that he didn't fire the right people at the right time.
Right, yeah.
But I do understand, as far as I know, that they're more watchful for this stuff now. Yeah. So that's good.
I really hope, I think I might have said this before, but I'll say it again. I really hope that Trump's first 100 days, assuming he does win, will be a lot better than his first 100 days the first time in 2016. Because they were a bit of a shambles the first time. You know, going through a few different press secretaries and not draining the swamp or attempting to really at all.
Not finishing the war.
For a while.
Allowing Anthony Fauci to set pandemic policy.
But particularly the first 100 days. I know it's a cliche, 100 days. Who cares if it's the first 90 days, the first 120 days, but just hit the ground running, basically. I think he'll be able to hit the ground running this time, at least to a better degree than in 2016. Not giving someone like Scaramucci a job and stuff. Picking the right people. Well, if he's got Elon in there, imagine Elon literally standing in the Oval Office, like most days, saying, don't do that, do this instead, or whatever. Okay, so I just wanted to play the clip of Kamala saying that Trump is sort of hiding away, and then a clip of people saying, no, she's not accepting invitations to things. And everyone knows that if and when she ever goes off script, it's a car crash. And Trump's off script all the time. Well, not all the time, but a lot of the time, he's just talking. And, he's been a businessman for ages, right? He's referenced as a tycoon in, like, the 1980s, right? He's on TV as a successful New York guy.
He was in Home Alone 2.
Right, yeah. Let's not forget the legendary cameo in Home Alone 2.
Probably the high point of his entire life.
Didn't Obama once say the American dream is to be Donald Trump?
Yeah, I don't know if he did.
I mean, black guys used to love Donald Trump.
Jay-Z used to rap about him. So
yeah, they all used to rap about him because they all wanted to be him.
Yeah, I was listening to a really old one of the earliest Dan Carlin podcasts the other day, and it's from like 2010 or 12 or something like that. And he just references Bill Gates and Donald Trump as a highly successful billionaire person. Yeah, it's just the name Donald Trump used to be just shorthand for a very, very successful uber rich person. And this is decades ago.
It was in American Psycho.
And he shaved Vince McMahon's head.
Right.
I would have liked to have done that.
Didn't he do a stunner on Vince?
No,
Stone Cold Stunner.
He speared Vince, and then he took a Stone Cold Stunner.
He took a Stone Cold Stunner.
Steve
That's
Austin.
right. That's right.
He sold it terribly, but
I
mean, bless him, he still did it.
Yeah,
it wasn't as bad as some of Vince's sells though. So.
Vince got better.
Oh, do you not see WrestleMania 38? You know, like almost 80-year-old.
Off the top of my head.
80-year-old Vince McMahon takes a stunner off Stone Cold, where Stone Cold has to like literally walk with him and try and grab him as he's falling over, and then starts laughing. I'll send you the clip. It's great.
Anyone who's watched enough Lotus Eaters knows that to get Harry talking about professional wrestling.
I'm sorry.
It's gonna keep going. Okay. You're not interested in pro wrestling?
I haven't watched it since I was like 10.
No, I haven't watched it in quite a few years myself. But I do remember now Stone Cold doing a stunner on the Donald.
On the Donald.
All right, let's move on. Okay, in the Independent. So everyone's talking about this last couple of days, last day or so. It's sort of just in the news cycle that Trump seems to be surging ahead, at least in people actually, the bookies actually, because there's all sorts of different platforms where you can place bets on these things. And as you said, a really good point you said is that when you do a normal poll, there's many reasons why you're not going to get a good, clear, accurate, honest reading. And the big one is people just not honest. Someone sort of rings you up and says, "Hi, we're calling from from YouGov, or we're calling from wherever, Ipsos or something. What's your feelings on this?" And you just lie because you don't want to, for whatever reason, you don't want to tell them what's really in your heart. And so, if that happens on any sort of scale, you're just not going to get an accurate thing. Whereas when people put money on it anonymously, that's sort of real. That is kind of real. And so, yeah, the Independent saying when they saw it happening at first, they were like, "Oh, we don't know why. We can't explain why. Nobody knows why Donald Trump is actually popular and Kamala Harris isn't as much."
Because Kamala Harris literally stops talking when the teleprompter doesn't work because she's got no thoughts in her brain.
Yeah. And she's just, obnoxious. Even her voice. Great. I read something somewhere a while ago that sort of the tone and pitch and intonation of your voice really matters.
Yep.
When you're running for super high office, when you're running to be a leader of a country. If your voice is sort of grating or annoying or in any way, that's like a massive detriment. And hers isn't it?
She's got a massive handicap there.
Yeah.
It's funny how she's running the Vibes campaign while being also really visually and auditorially insufferable.
I mean, you don't even need to listen with the sound on. You can look at a Kamala Harris speech with the sound off, and even then you're cringing at how nagging and annoying she's being.
She has the affect of Cesar Romero's Joker.
I think that's a bit of an insult on old Caesar there. Yeah. Poor guy.
That's the old 70s Batman, isn't it?
Yeah, 66, yeah.
Great reference. Go to the next
Only
Independent.
She had as stylish a moustache.
But then they're saying that he's another later article saying that, just sort of admitting that he's pushing on in the polls, or in the bookies' eyes, at least. If we go to the next one, so if we scroll down a little bit on this, we can see a few different things, just showing that it's. Oh well, I'm sorry, wrong link about scrolling down. But anyway, USA Today even admitting it. There's one by Fortune magazine, the next clip. In that, they said, prediction markets can be a more sophisticated and accurate way to foresee political events. Thomas Miller, a data scientist at Northwestern University, told Fortune's Sean Tully. Miller is renowned for his accurate predictions during the 2020 election, and much of his methodology comes from examining prediction markets. Because they are shown to be more accurate. It's kind of as simple as that. Can you scroll up again? I was just reading from that. He said, political betting sites are the best at predicting the wisdom of the crowd. While polls tell you all about how people responded in the recent past, the odds on sites like PredictIt and Polymarket show real-time sentiment and are better for mapping the future, according to Miller. Plus, polls don't show who will win the electoral college, while traders on prediction markets can wager on its outcome. Right. So there's one thing just asking people, who do you want to win, or who do you think will win? And the other thing of drilling down further, well, where are they going to get the magic 270 electoral college votes from? How exactly is it going to play out and pan out? And most normal polls don't really drill down into that, because most people they ask won't have much of an idea. Whereas if you look at all sorts of analysis across lots and lots of different betting sites that are betting on those specific things, then you can build up a better picture. In Newsweek, the Newsweek article, if we scroll down on this, it's got a couple of things for us. This is the one saying that Trump may well win all 7 of the swing states. Well, he'd only need... Well, it all depends, doesn't it? But he'd only need 4 or 5 of them. People are saying things like Trump has got multiple avenues to be reaching that 270, that magic 270 number, and Harris hasn't really. Of course, she'll always get a lot of the coasts, if not all of both coasts. Again, we've got to assume that a large-scale fortification doesn't go on.
It also depends on whether or not Texas is a swing state, because it's not listed there, but they have been subject to a lot of, and Ohio, frankly, a lot of enrichment via the southern border in recent years. And obviously those people have been given state-provided ID, so lots of those people are now legal, and so are entitled to vote.
Crazy.
Not great.
Crazy. To have a country with open borders and then you just give the new people welfare and the right to vote, that's obviously a recipe for disaster. Absolute disaster.
I'll tell you what it is. It's a bribe.
Right. Yeah. Right. I mean, just terrible. Well, hopefully Trump will... He has said, hasn't he, he'll institute some sort of program of mass remigration.
Vance has, I think, in a recent interview said that a figure of like 1 to 1.5 million per year is not unreasonable.
Right.
And he said, obviously, there's an estimated 20 to 25 million illegals in the country at the moment. That's probably way off mark. It's probably more than that. But he basically said that it wouldn't actually take 25 years if they did that, because if they knew that they were coming for them, these people would self-deport anyway.
And that hasn't completely tanked the Trump-Vance ticket.
No, all of a sudden his polls are exploding.
If anything, he's got a surge.
Yeah.
So that puts paid to the lie, I think, that some people say, for example, if we talk about reform, that it would be politically suicidal to start talking about remigration. I really don't think that. I think the opposite.
It turns
I think
out
people are dying to hear that.
if you say that at their conference, I mean, the people that are Reform members applaud you.
Would anyone have the chutzpah to do such a thing?
It'd be funny if 1 or 2 people had done that, wouldn't it?
And it's not like...
For anyone who doesn't know, Connor did it.
Yes. Every single party that won elections in Britain since the times of Enoch Powell has done so on a promise to reduce migration. And that's going back to when migration was only in the tens of thousands coming into this country every year. That might suggest just a little thing about the public mood.
And all over Europe, examples of parties saying they're going to do some form of remigration and people seeming to like it.
And people,
it being popular.
And these countries slowly beginning to start putting these policies into place as well.
The European Union, as of yesterday, for a letter going out tomorrow, Ursula von der Leyen, who's the architect of lots of these open border policies, has said, oh yeah, Italy's plan to create remigration camps in Albania was actually a really good one. Maybe we should adopt it. If even the European Union are starting to
I
explore
like that because it's a punishment on Albania as well.
Quite.
Shame Stelios isn't here. As a Greek man, I don't think he's the biggest fan of Albanians. But then who is, really?
He stands at the edge of the sea and shakes his fist.
Yeah. Doesn't know who to hate more out of Albanians and Turks.
Pours out libations to Poseidon to sink the entire nation.
Pardon me. Okay, next link. Who's this? Action Network. They're saying, if you scroll down a little bit, they're saying, I think Trump's sort of 57% likely to win. Is it? Yeah, 57, 58% likely to win over Kamala Harris, 42. Now if that does play out, that's not very close. That would translate into Trump getting well over 300 of the electoral votes probably, and that's not very close. Right, that's maybe not landslide territory, but
comfortable.
It's totally comfortable. So another good indication of sort of what's real or not are just the markets. So even CNBC, who I'm sure are absolutely loathed to give any positive news about Trump, they're saying that his media stocks, or he's bringing out a new thing called Truth Plus, apparently. Yeah,
just merge it with X, man. Like
that would be cool. I've never thought of that before.
I mean, they're friends now.
Right? Yeah.
Musk's come up and endorsed him personally.
Right, yeah.
In the most autistic photo I've ever seen in my life.
But when he's jumping for joy.
Yeah, when he's jumping for joy with the autist face on, and Donald Trump's kind of cringing at it.
I scroll down on there.
Oh yeah, of course the crowd loved it, but that photo is perfect. Trump's got so many amazing photos from this entire campaign.
It would be cool if he merged all his media things with X or something or other happened like that. That might be cool. Okay, the next one, even talking about Bitcoin. I don't understand this thing about how the Bitcoin price is linked in terms of sort of public opinion or public sentiment with Trump doing well, but it does seem to be the case.
Trump said he'd make it legal tender.
Right, okay, well that would explain it.
Yes.
That would explain it right there. So when Bitcoin price is doing well at the moment, some people are saying that they're totally linked. The likelihood becoming more likely of Trump doing well or winning, the Bitcoin price gets stronger. So that is another indication on the markets. We go to the penultimate link there, talking about a massive rally on Trump stuff. DJT is the ticker for Trump's media stuff. If you scroll down a touch on that, I think there's a clip actually, a brief clip we could watch a little bit of.
We are running up slightly on time for the segment, but
all right.
I'm just trying to find it.
All right, well, don't worry about it.
Is it not?
It was just saying.
Is it not just the clip that you're closing?
Not that one. Is it the one? Is it the one at the top of the article, or?
Yeah, that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trump media on track for its best week since it was listed in March, reversing a steep sell-off in recent weeks with less than a month to go until the presidential election year. If you're taking a look at shares right now, they're up by 9% here pre-market. What's probably critical to also note here is that they hit a new all-time low last week, so it's really rallying off.
Okay, you don't have to watch it all. I was just going to say, so as he just said there, it's actually a tick up from quite a low ebb, actually. So whenever you look at graphs or charts, always scroll back if you can. Have like a much longer version, in the time sense of whatever you're looking at. Because if you look at it on the short term, it looks like it's just gone straight up. But if you scroll out, it's actually quite low and then ticked up a bit. Nonetheless, still, it's a good indication. The stock wouldn't be going up like that unless the sentiment was positive. And one last link. Just the Financial Times, even the Financial Times, who are usually pretty conservative with a small c about what they say, usually, are still sort of can't deny that there's been some sort of surge in the public sentiment.
They can't deny
towards Trump Vance ticket.
I hope you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, and if you want to see what else we're up to, we had a roundtable discussion on the legacy of Tolkien. We even had Luca Johnson in, who was a bit of a Tolkien scholar. It was really, really good, really nourishing. And if you want to see all the other stuff that we're putting out, you can always follow us on Twitter. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.